Kushu, I greet you as you work. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time of day it may be. I pray that blessings are with you and yours. This is the School of Orisha Studies in the Orisha Lifestyle Academy. I'm your instructor, Obafemi Origunwa. And today I want to share some bright ideas and best practices around leadership and what leaders require. I was thinking about this in relationship to conversations, not really conversations, just observing my sons. You know, the older sons are more adept than the younger sons. They have a better, more clear understanding of what the requirements are to be, you know, in Baba's good graces and to really get the most out of the relationship. So it's really interesting to watch how the older ones will coach and guide the younger ones, and it's to everybody's benefit. Makes everything work much more smoothly. And it struck me because, you know, sons are different from daughters. I have sons and daughters, and my sons require a different kind of leadership than my daughters. And so it's interesting and gratifying to see that they've learned the lessons and they know how to kind of guide one another. And it made me think that the same thing is true in other settings. That process reverberates in a classroom setting, in a professional setting, in a temple setting, right? When I lead, the people who are more familiar with my leadership style are the ones who communicate those requirements to the people who are newer. Either they're newer to, you know, working with me, or they're new to being led. Some people haven't really been led for long enough to understand that there are requirements and there are things that you got to do as a follower. Now, let me say, before I go any further, this message really is for people who know they need leadership. Some people are still of the opinion that they don't need leadership and they can freestyle or they can do whatever they feel, you know, is appropriate in any condition, and it's going to work out well for them. This message isn't for you. I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying this message really isn't for that audience. I'm talking to the people who already are certain. No, in order for me to go where I need to go, I need leadership. Okay. And this is also for people who also, you may be a leader, right? Iron sharpens iron. And so sometimes we look to one another to get a better understanding of like what we're thinking, right? It's like, oh yeah, I was thinking that too as a leader. I've had that same kind of experience. I just didn't know how to articulate it. So you may fall into that category as well. You lead and you want to have a better appreciation for what goes into it and what you require and how to articulate what you require from your people. Okay. Now, a leader is characterized by a handful of attributes. You know, of course, every individual is complex, so you can't really oversimplify it and say every single leader is limited to these things. But leadership is defined by a handful of attributes that I want to also share. A leader is visionary by definition. Okay, a leader has a vision. Now, the vision might not be very broad or expansive. It may be a vision that's really, you know, only reaches into a month or a year from the moment. Or a leader may have a vision that carries out over hundreds of years, right? But either way, the leader has a vision, and the vision is compelling. The vision is drawing the leader close to it in an irresistible way. The leader is waking up and going to bed, you know, on a quest to fulfill that vision. A leader is a decision maker, right? The leader is the one who will make decisions, gathers all the information, right? Does the analysis. And at the end of the day, based on something, a leader is going to decide, this is what I'm going to do. This is what we're going to do. This is the direction we're going to move. Now is the time to go. That's what leaders do. They decide. Leaders communicate. right? The leader has to convey the vision to the followers, to the people, to the community. This is what I see. This is where we're going. This is the objectives that we're attempting to reach. These are the goals that we want to reach. By this date and this time, we want to have accomplished these 5 things. Those are the things that leaders do. Okay? Those are the attributes of leaders. In their communication process, leaders are also astute listeners. They listen, right? They listen. They listen with their eyes. They listen with their ears. They listen with their hearts. They intuit. But a leader is always listening, trying to detect what the climate is of his people. Okay? And a leader is doing all of these things because he understands that as the group is able to move toward the vision, everybody is going to be blessed. Everyone's going to get a benefit. Now, everyone isn't going to get the same thing because everybody doesn't seek the same thing. Some people will get recognition. Some people will get bounty. They'll get wealth. They'll be able to earn. Some people will get freedom, independence. Some people will get companionship. They'll get partnership. They will be surrounded by like-minded people. They'll be contained, right? They'll be kept with a group. They're going to belong in a place. They'll have an identity that's shared with other people. Okay? The leader is able to communicate all of those things to the different members of his group. No matter what you're seeking, if you follow these directions, if you do what I instruct you to do, if you remain in compliance with the methodology and the rules that I set forward, you are going to get what you need from this relationship, right? These are the things that leaders do. And again, they're doing it because they know that the collective is going to benefit from following those particular instructions. Now, in order for that to work, the leader has requirements. Right? There are requirements. There are things that you have to do to support the leader, to follow the leader. In order for it to work, you've got to meet the leader's requirements. Okay? For example, one thing that the leader requires is that, let me say for myself, let's say I divide my leadership into 2 categories. On a descriptive category and a definitive or a didactic category, right? If I give you a description, I tell you about something, I'm giving you knowledge, I'm giving you history, I'm giving you context, I'm giving you culture, I'm telling you about something and how it works, right? I expect that you will take that information and you will organize it in such a way that you can then put it together and present something. You can create something, right? You may be able to talk. You can tell me about something. You can, for example, in the school, we use videos, right? People make video presentations. Okay. I require that you are going to put that information together and share in a 3 to 5 minute video some sensible, intelligible ideas and reflections that you've digested what I've shared with you, and you can put it together in your own words. Okay? Likewise, on the didactic side, if I tell you how to do something, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, I've told you how to do it because I expect that you are going to do it, right? I require that you do that. You follow the directions and you show, hey, Baba, I am doing it. Here is my evidence. I'm doing it. This is the level I'm doing it at. Not necessarily I've mastered it. It's not necessarily that I've perfected it, but I am doing it. Here's my progress. I expect that you're going to do that. I require that you're going to do that. You're going to voluntarily do that because you understand that I gave it to you for that explicit purpose. I wouldn't be just putting it out for the sake of putting it out. I am expecting that when I give it to you, you're going to start working with it and you're going to give it back to me to let me know, hey, Baba, I'm working on it. This is where I am. Okay. Another example. I require that you have a certain social grace about you. You know, you have some social skills, some home training. Okay. Your presentation is going to be neat. It's going to be orderly. It's going to be clean. Your language is going to be clear. It's going to be clean. You're not going to be using caustic, divisive language that, you know, detracts from the message or detracts from the purpose of what we're doing. You're going to have everything in your demeanor is going to be clean. The way you speak, your tone of voice, the way you hold yourself is going to reflect a certain understanding of who you are and who I am and who we are in relationship to the work that we're doing. These are all the requirements, right? You've got to demonstrate certain social graces, right? This is a maturity. I expect that my students, my followers, my people, if they're my people, I require that they're going to take certain care for me, right? You're going to look and you're going to be demonstrating a level of care. It's not just beyond the level of just basic respect, but also care. Hey, I understand that you're a person, that you have human needs. I may not be able to fill those needs, but I understand them. So I demonstrate a level of care, of compassion, of empathy for you as a person. I acknowledge you as a person. I do the things that I understand that people need, right? It's a requirement. Anyone who doesn't understand that a leader, that I am a person, and they don't demonstrate a level of empathy and compassion for me, they are not meeting the requirements. So it's essential that my people demonstrate an understanding of our humanity. Another requirement, really important requirement, is that you demonstrate the ability to receive correction, right? It's not just that you're teachable, right? The other part's about really being able to receive information and organize the information and demonstrate that you're working on it and kick back that information to me to say, hey, Baba, I'm working on it. But there's also the part about being open to correction. Okay, you have to accept my correction. You may not like that I'm telling you, that something was off. I'm not talking about that. But in your heart of hearts, your default is I receive the instruction and the correction. I'm open to that correction. I am receptive of the correction. Okay, you have to demonstrate that ability. And how do you do that? You do that by small things, right? Small things by saying, okay, yes, thank you. Not deflecting, right? There are lots of different ways that we reject instruction. We deflect. We say but, and we make excuses and give explanations, and all of those things may be good amongst your peers. They may be acceptable in different social environments. But when it comes to our relationship, it's important that you are first and foremost accepting, right? You demonstrate a level of acceptance and receptivity to the correction by saying, yes, I hear you. I'm taking that in. And then, even more importantly, You go home, you go into your own space, you work on it, and you come back. And the next time you show up, you do things that reflect my correction, right? If it's presentation, if it's volume, whatever the case may be, you do things that reflect it. And a very, very high level requirement for people who really, really want to do their very best are the ones who observe and they correct. They self-correct. And they say, oh, I understand. I know exactly where you're going with this, Baba. And I am going to make the adjustments in my approach before you even have to tell me. Because I'm watching and I'm listening. And I'm sensitive and attuned to your standards and your requirements. And I can tell what happens. I'm watching, for example, when other people aren't meeting the standard and I see why they aren't meeting the standard, I'm going to correct on my own. And again, this is something that I see in all settings. I see it in my home setting. I see it in the professional setting. I see it in the temple setting. The people who do the very best are the ones who are attentive to my requirements without me having to explain step by step by step by step by step by step. Okay? All of these things are important to you as supporters, as followers, because you believe in the vision. At the end of the day, you know, if you simplify it, it's kind of like when you were maybe in high school and, you know, one person had a car and everybody wanted to go to the movies, right? But their parents had some requirements. Hey, man, you can't eat fast food in the car, or you guys can't be drinking and driving, whatever the case may be. Because you really wanted to go to the movies, you follow those rules. It's important to you. Okay? This is a similar kind of a thing. Once you have chosen me to lead you, then the best thing for you to do is master all of the things that go into supporting me as your leader. So many times we're torn. People are grappling in their minds with, can I really yield to this leadership? Is it okay? Can I give myself permission to follow this person's direction? Can I give myself permission to adhere to this person's approach? And the only thing I can really say is you got to make up your mind that what you want is more important than you always being comfortable in the process of getting it. Okay? Sometimes along the way, you're going to be uncomfortable. Okay? When you get instruction and you get correction, you may be a little bit uncomfortable as I am giving you redirection and I'm helping you to do something in a way that you know is different from what you had thought you were doing, or you know, doing it in a different way. It is going to be awkward. It will be a little bit embarrassing. It will be a little bit unnerving. It will take you into a space where you don't actually know what's going to happen next. You will feel a little bit vulnerable or exposed. That's natural and part of the process. But in that process, what you've got to keep in mind is that this is the person. I'm in the vehicle with Baba Obafemi. He's driving the vehicle. He's flying the plane. I entrusted him and myself enough to get onto the plane. I'm going to do everything that we need to do. I'm going to do everything that he requires as long as I'm on this plane. And I understand that we're going to reach our destination. I believe that that's what the case is going to be. So let me give myself to the process. Don't be halfway in and halfway out. Every time you find yourself with this ambiguity, this uncertainty, every time you sense yourself doing something that, you know, Let me give you an example. And this is something that I know very well from my own life experience. Sometimes because I have abstract thought, I'm an abstract thinker, right? I go conceptual and I think really big picture sometimes. I can get to a point where I put 2, 3, 4 variables out there and say, oh yeah, well, I could go left, I could go right, I could go east, I could go west, I could go north, I could go south. And I really am evaluating all those options with equal weight. All of them seem as viable as one and as the other, right? And conceptually they are, in an abstract sense they are. But when it comes down to what I really am doing and where I truly want to go, there's only one path. There's only one thing that really is available to me right now, right? I could teach Spanish. I could go back and be a Spanish teacher. I could go back and be a corporate trainer. I could, right? There's so many things that I could do. There's so many things I could dedicate myself to. But when it comes down to what I truly intend to do, what my purpose really is, all of those things aren't really options. All of those different skills and possibilities, they only come into focus as they're able to support my ability to be an effective babalawo. That's it. My ability to write, or my ability to speak, or my ability to facilitate workshops, all of those things only matter to the extent that they help me in the process of being a babalawo. I'm committed to that path, and everything else that I know and do supports that path. So it is with you. You could do a lot of other things, but if you want to practice Ifa with me the way I practice Ifa, then all those other things only matter to the extent that they help you be a better follower of my practice, the better follower and practitioner of my method. If it detracts from it in any way, then you put it all the way in the back and you focus exclusively on the things that will make you a better student, a better adherent, a better practitioner of the method that I'm putting before you. Commit to it. Give yourself to it. Master it. Stop pontificating, as they say. Stop vacillating. Get really clear about how what I am presenting to you is the way that you want to go on your path. I promise you, with total and absolute certainty, the moment you make that decision and you commit to the practice and my methodology for teaching the practice, you are going to get different results. Your energy is going to get so much more focused. If you keep plants or if you ever watch people keep plants, right? People who, let's say fruit plants, really good example. When your fruit plants are growing, the tree is going to grow like 40 branches. Okay. But a master gardener knows they're going to prune. You're going to prune 30 of those branches away because you want all of the water, all the sunlight, right? All of the resources that tree generates, you want them to be concentrated to the appropriate number of branches so that those 10 branches will get the maximum. They're going to get all the nutrients are going to be focused and concentrated. All of the water is going to be focused and concentrated. All of this absorption of sunlight is going to be focused and concentrated. You're not diffusing all of that energy into 40 different possibilities. You narrow it, commit, so that your resources are focused on exactly what you want to accomplish. I guarantee you're going to get better results. And so I'm reminded of the Haitian proverb, which is one of my favorite. And I'm going to close with this. Dog has 4 legs, but only walks in one direction. Dog has 4 legs, but only walks in one direction. And it is in the direction that the head leads it into. Okay? So take all of your resources, take all your possibilities, all your natural gifts and talents, focus them in one direction, and let them show you all of the great things that they can create for you in your life. Aboro aboye, abo shishe.